So hello, we're here at RootsTech 2016 with James Tanner, who's a genealogist and blogger at Genealogy Star and Waking Arizona and other projects. James has been using our parish records quite heavily and has figured out a few workarounds for how to get the most out of them. So James, tell us more about that.
Okay, thanks. We're working on with our family on investigating English records, primarily England, Scotland, Wales. What the problem is, and what we've been facing, obviously, is that our ancestors have very common names. So what we'll do is we'll go into the search engine for the global search all the records, specify England, UK records, and then put in a surname like Parkinson, for example, and then we would have a place. So in this case, we'll put in a whole county, like Huntingdonshire. So we began to see what's called clustering. We see where these people live. Obviously, we're doing other research with other records. So as I go down the list, I'll see somebody from a parish that I recognize, a name with a parish, and then I can go redo the search, and then it will separate everyone out who is in that parish with that surname. Now, once we have a parish list, it's going to be much shorter than the overall county, but the advantage there is then we can go through and start matching that up to our data. And we've been able to start using that procedure in conjunction with microfilm records and the other records that are available to find literally hundreds of people that we couldn't find previously, that we didn't find previously. Yeah, the key, of course, is that you need to know where your parish is. Yeah. I mean, that's not going to be given you by anyone. No. Searching on any of the search engines out there, if you're not aware of the location where your people lived, you're going to get all sorts of names all over the place. So people, without focusing on that, can basically just be matching names to names, which doesn't work, and dates to dates. But this way, using Findmypast, it gives people with a little more sophistication and awareness of the importance of the locations, the ability to actually use that information from the program. And it's become a tremendously powerful tool. If you start out with the person's name and you have a parish from any record, this is a known person in the recent past. Yeah. Okay, so you have a known person, but you have a family that you think is his family. Well, there's three things. First of all, you have to make sure that the locations are consistent, that all of them really relate to each other, and particularly depending on the time frame. Because the further you go back in time, the less ability people had to move and go from one place to another. So what you're going to find is, if you go back like into the early 1800s, late 1700s, that all these people lived within a very small area. Sure. And they never got married to anybody that was far away. Well, but the problem is that you're ending up with a long list of names from a search that are all very similar names. But as you look at if you search by a surname and a county, and then you start refining it by putting in the parishes that correspond to your known records, then that starts bringing up just the people who lived in that area. Yeah. And then from there, just pick a map, go out to the next parish level, and pick up the next ones. And pretty soon, what you have is people that stand out as being that. Then you look at their individual records and do a search. And as you search for additional records on those people, then ideally what you would find is a connection that says, oh yeah, this person shows up with this person, and that connects the family. Okay. So it's a step-by-step process, but the enabling factor here is that Findmypast has provided a list that you can sort geographically. Okay,
so start with the parish that you know, and then spread to the parishes around it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
For example, one of the things that happens is that when there's a marriage, the husband will go to the wife's parish to be married. Right. So the husband's birth record doesn't appear anywhere in that parish. Okay. Yeah. And so we have to figure out, where did he come from? And so once we find the list of and it's usually just like the next parish over. Yeah. So if I know all the parishes that surround one record, then I can look in the Findmypast list to pick out Parkinson's or whoever it is in the other parishes that are around.
Well, thank you for taking the time to explain to us sort of an easier way of using the website. Well, Jim, thank you very much. Cheers. Yep. Thanks a lot.